Taylor Swift. As if Swifties needed another reason to obsess over T-Swizzle, it looks like Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour will be the first tour to hit $1 billion. Yeah, that's right. I said billion with a B. That begs the question, is Taylor Swift causing inflation? Whether it's interacting with her fan base on all social media, including the deep swamps of Reddit, private invite-only sessions, surprise visits and gifts, or even letters, Swift's realness and authenticity has cultivated some serious cachet with her audience. These harmless lunatics are gonna make the Eras Tour the first $1 billion tour ever, surpassing Elton John at $887 million and Ed Sheeran in second place at $776 million. Random, I know. Raise your hand if you had Elton John pegged as the highest earning tour. I guess pegged might be the wrong word choice here, so let's carry on. As if Taylor Mania wasn't on full display before, the Eras Tour really puts the icing on that cake. That cake is prepped, baked, and iced by Taylor herself. T-Swizzle's success comes on the heels of a global lockdown that set demand for live events and experiences to the moon. And the party isn't relegated to the stadium itself. Swifties are hanging out in the parking lot while the concert takes place, making a Buffalo Bills tailgate look like child's play. This once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon, rooted in authenticity and realness with her audience, is causing Dr. Swift to show up, host up, and sell out arenas multiple nights in every city she goes to. All this to see Taylor do her best Luke Kuechly impersonation just before he shoots the gap. Aside from the question of whether or not this makes Swift the biggest artist on the planet, if not ever, I'll leave that one to you guys to fight the beehive in the comments if you want. There are two questions here I'm primarily concerned with.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
1. Are Taylor Swift and acts like her pouring gasoline on an already hot economy? 2. Is Swiftflation a real thing? When it's all said and done, Swift's on track to play 106 gigs with more being added. Back in December, Billboard estimated that Swift's 52-date US leg tour would gross somewhere around $590 million. Let's dig into some of these Swiftenomics. At the time of Billboard's estimate, the average ticket price for the US leg was $215. A quick little search on ye olde interwebs and you learn that these tickets currently are selling for no less than $700, and that's not including those asinine convenience fees from the ticket cartel, but we'll get to that another day.
Not today, Satan. Not today, neck. Not today, ankles. We don't have it.
Conservatively,
We'll make America great.
no, not that kind. We can say that the average ticket to see Miss Americana live is gonna run you at least a band. But realistically, that number's too light. The real average all-in resale ticket is sold for $1,605, according to SeatGeek. The average resale concert ticket this year is about $250, so it's a slight bump there. But costs obviously don't stop there. We have to account for food, gas, travel, hotel, wardrobe, transportation, parking, and other expenses. I hate to be the responsible brown dad in this situation, but how the are people affording and paying for this? Swifties can expect to pay 50% markup on hotels if they plan ahead, and a whopping 300% if it's last minute. Don't even get me started on Airbnb. No, Carol, I'm not vacuuming your house and taking the trash down to the dumpster 3 blocks away if I pay you a $200 cleaning fee.
I mean, come on, Ed, it's bullcrap.
Heading into its third trimester, it's estimated that the Eras Tour is responsible for at least $150 million in revenue to the hotel industry thus far. The greatest impacts to hotel markets came in mid and small market cities. Those aren't typically equipped to handle a spike in demand, especially those early in the tour. Cincinnati.
We're on to Cincinnati.
In Pittsburgh, for example, an estimated 24,000 hotel rooms were booked at premium prices for the Eras Tour pilgrimage. By the way, the record-breaking show drummed up more traffic than usual for local businesses. Eat your heart out, Furry Festival. Let's dig deeper on Swiftenomics. Aside from largely being milquetoast, white, the demos for Swift's fan base are uniquely diverse. 53% of adults living in the US identify as Swift fan. This is probably in line with family road trips and music being passed down from generation to generation. In a survey, fans said that they shelled out over $1,300 for the event, with 71% saying the experience was worth it and 91% saying they'd go again. Talk about a religious experience. Though it's safe to presume that many people are loading up those credit cards to take the cultish white woman pilgrimage, shout out to Capital One for being being a sponsor of the Eras Tour, it's also safe to say that the wide demo makes it such that families and friends are taking Swiftations together to offset costs. Breaking down the overall cost, the average concert goer spent $720 more than they budgeted. This includes outfits, costumes, merchandise, food, drink, travel, and more. If you extrapolate the spending pace, the estimate for the Eras Tour is to generate a total economic impact of over $5 billion. That number is larger than the GDP of 50 countries. Speaking of 50 countries, this is where it gets interesting. Beyond the basic clickbait question about whether or not Taylor Swift is causing inflation, it turns out that in some ways, she and other major acts are in fact doing just this. This isn't just an opinion I have. The economic impact has been so great that even the Federal Reserve mentioned it in their beige book. According to the Philly Fed, despite the slowing recovery in tourism in the region overall, one contact highlighted that May was the strongest month for hotel revenue in Philadelphia since the onset of the pandemic, in large part due to the influx of guests for the Taylor Swift concert. That show in particular had a crowd of over 20,000 fans that either couldn't afford the tickets or that couldn't get one, hanging out outside playing car lot karaoke with Taylor. As if you needed any more evidence that the US consumer is resilient. Fans that either can't afford local ticket prices or are looking for a real Swiftcation jumped at the idea of picking up tickets in places like New Zealand and Australia as soon as they went on sale. In Australia, for example, VIP ticket packages were going for $12.50 and being resold for a measly $3,100 average. This is a steep discount to the resale values of similar American tour sites. That gouging was too steep for locals though. State governments in places like Victoria and New South Wales have now stepped in and are taking action to prevent the resale tickets with large premiums. T-Swizzle's tours in fact managed to spur consumption in cities that it's hit thus far. In fact, the chief economist of the Danske Bank of Sweden, who may or may not be confused for a divorced dad who plays bass in a Limp Bizkit cover band, blamed ticket price surges and hotel rates as the chief proponent for the country's inflation surge. Is it me, or do all economists just blame anything but themselves when things don't work out the way that they planned? So, to answer the question posed at the top, it looks like Taylor is in fact putting the sizzle in T-Swizzle and the economy. It also looks like the inflation fear is all dependent on where you live. For people located in the US, the Swift lift is something that's viewed as helping the economy. And for those abroad, it looks like it's either something that's causing a headwind or causing your leadership to beg for a boost. No matter how you feel about Taylor Swift and her fan base, it's safe to say that the Eras Tour is one thing that doesn't end in heartbreak when it comes to her.